saying that they could not hear. If you maybe could find them and make sure that they have clicked the right audio button, and they may have to log out and log back in because I'm hearing you fine, and I'm assuming you're well. You just answered me, so I'm assuming you're hearing me. Okay, okay, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go to work here. We're going to spend the first 30, 35 minutes or so sharing with you the THW Global message. And, this is our first time doing this type of combo. So hopefully we can stay within those time frames. Then we'll take a few, maybe a minute or two break. And then we're going to go into some training because we want you to not just align with us in THW Global, not just make up to $25 an hour. You've probably heard that. If you haven't, you'll understand that in a few moments by viewing promotional content. We really want you to build a full-scale business. We believe that this model can lend itself to you ultimately scaling to a six, some a seven, some even an eight-figure business. Now, if it's difficult for you to see yourself there now, that's okay. You definitely want to stick around for the training because we're going to talk about some mindset in our training. So if you have a difficult time, if all you're looking for is a few extra hundreds of dollars a month, you'll see how you can get there. And then you might be like my very dear friends, Zeke and Jerry Stewart down there in Panama, where when they first got into the home business industry, they didn't have any visions of making 10 grand and 20 grand and 30 grand a month. They wanted to make 300 and some change a month because they had a bill. I think it was like a car payment way back then. And 5 years later, they're making 50 grand a month. All right. So maybe you don't believe for 50 grand a month now just yet. Hang tight. Stay with us. We're going to show you that you could definitely do that with this model. Now, when this model first came across our desk back in June, I think the 16th of this year, we read the information. It was very, very intriguing. But, we didn't know much about the model and how this was all going to shake out. And so we were asking the question, is this thing crap? Just a bunch of malarkey. There's a bunch of malarkey, obviously, on the internet. Or is it gold? And to be honest with you, we can't say it's gold just yet because it's still in a soft launch. We still have a few weeks before soft launch is over. But there are things that we are seeing now that certainly lead us to believe that it certainly isn't crap. Whether or not they will execute fully, we'll have to see. But it certainly doesn't seem to be crap, so we're preparing for it to be gold. Now, what I want to do today, this is a slightly different presentation than what most of you have seen if you've come to our presentations before. And we'll get it streamlined in the coming weeks and what have you. But I want to start off, I want to talk about YouTube because you're going to see that our platform closely resembles at least the look and feel of YouTube. And so I want us to go back in the day to YouTube. YouTube launched in 2005. Now, everybody knows about YouTube now, 4 billion video views a day. They generate billions in revenue. They're worth about $100 billion. But let's go way back before anybody knew of YouTube. This was the first YouTube video. As a matter of fact, don't go to this now, but I'm going to put this in your chat box so that you can grab it after the webinar or before we end the webinar, and you can watch to see just how powerful, just how awesome this video was. It was 18 seconds. And this was one of the founders of YouTube. This young dude here is one of the founders of YouTube. I want you to see that 18-second video, and I would be hard-pressed to think that if anybody watches that video backing up 11 years ago, that you would have thought that this dude and this service called YouTube would ultimately become $100 billion giant. So the brief history on YouTube, it all started back on February 2005. That first video that I just put into your questions box was loaded on April 2005. There's some other stats, I don't have time to go through it, that YouTube didn't actually even get incorporated until October of 2005. So they weren't even a real business. All right. They launched in, I think, December of 2005. And by October 2006, Google At that time, Google wasn't the huge player it is now. All right. It was starting to lead in search traffic, and Google bought them out for $1.65 billion. It took them a while before they were in 9 countries. We're in soft launch, and you heard the number of countries that were represented just on our webinar. And our webinar, although we've got hundreds of people here, only represent a very tiny fraction of all of the folks that are a part of Thwglobal. We have representation in over 100 countries, and we're still in soft launch. So look at where it took YouTube from February 2005 until June 2007 before they were in 9 countries. We're in 100 countries. Okay. So I want you to see if what we're about to share today, if we had heard this back in 2005 and we had the foresight to take advantage, how different would our financial life be now? Now, we can't go back to 2005, and YouTube doesn't have the same type model that we're going to discuss today, but Thwglobal does have this model. So let's give you a little bit about fast forwarding to YouTube. Right now, YouTube, this is as of 2015, YouTube pulled in $9 billion in revenue in 2015. And they're now saying that YouTube is worth somewhere around $100 billion. Hey, make sure you grab that link. Don't watch it now, but make sure you grab that link and watch that first YouTube video. If you don't remember to do that, you can go to YouTube afterwards and you can put in first video ever loaded to YouTube in the search, and you'll see that video. I want you to see just how awesome that video was. It was quite horrible. And that was one of the founders. And some years later, it's $100 billion. Let's take a look at a couple of the executives of Google, because Google owns YouTube. Here is Larry Page. Larry Page, his real-time net worth as of today, $39.1 billion with a B dollars. And that's up from $33.3 billion at the end of 2015. Now, it's not just YouTube. Obviously, Google owns YouTube. So it's not just YouTube that has contributed to Larry's $39.1 billion wealth. But let me tell you who's contributed to that. All right. Teresa, if you've ever watched a YouTube video, you contributed to Larry's $39.1 billion. Tom Owen, down there in Gastonia, buddy, guess what? Every time you go to Google or you tell someone, hey, just go Google it. Someone asks you a question and you say, hey, just go Google it. I don't know the answer. Just go Google it. Guess what? You're contributing to Larry's $39.1 billion nest egg. It's not just Larry. It's his buddy, who is also a co-founder. What happened here? Oh, there we go. It's his buddy, Mr. Brin. I don't know how to say that first name. Don't want to mess it up. He's worth $38.2 billion. So every time we go and watch a YouTube video, every time we do some searching in Google, we're helping these gentlemen become fabulously wealthy. And we're not foo-fooing on that. But I want you to understand, just with this one property, Google, obviously owning YouTube, that these two dudes collectively are worth close to $80 billion. And Charette, how did they get there? Because of you, and because of me, and because of Sam Stewart, and because of Sandra Lawrence, and because of Tyron, and because of Wendy. Why? Because we're going and we're watching the content on YouTube. We're going and we are Googling. We're setting up Gmail accounts. We're even in the marketing space. We're telling folks, hey, you know what, Yahoo, you might have some spam issues there. Why don't you set up a Gmail account? You know what we're doing? We're helping to increase their user base. Facebook, we help to increase their user base. Doggone it, Queen. Why do we call you Queen Twitter? Because you got 1 million plus people following you on Twitter. My question to you is, how much money have the Twitter dudes and Twitter dudettes paid you for helping to generate a following, just your own following of 1 million folks? All right, so now I want you to pay attention to this platform. So here is YouTube. All right, here's a YouTube platform. Now, there is a champion arising amongst us saying, wait a minute, there's plenty of wealth in this whole advertising arena. By the way, YouTube is disguised as a video sharing social media site. But the reality is it's an advertising platform. Facebook is disguised as a social media platform. Hey, connect with your cousins, connect with your friends, connect with people that you've never met, but you've got similar interests, and build connections and relationships. It's disguised as a social media network, but it is an advertising platform. Make no bones about it. They did $5.2 billion in advertising revenue the first quarter of this year. And that was up some 57% from the same time last year. Twitter is an advertising platform, Queen. You thought it was so that you could build this huge following to maybe share your business and your business ideas and your things going on in your personal life, and you could tweet and all that other stuff. Twitter's not just about the Donald tweeting. It is an advertising platform. $641 million in the last quarter of 2015. Now, here's YouTube, right? Now, I want you to look at this. I want you to look at this. Look at the look and the feel. Look at the look and the feel. Look at the look and the feel. And here is Thwglobal. Look at the look and the feel. Look at the look and the feel. Look at the look and the feel. Looks pretty similar, doesn't it? It is a video platform. Or is it an advertising platform disguised as a video platform? It is an advertising platform, ladies and gentlemen, disguised as a video platform. You see, what YouTube did, what Facebook did, what Twitter did is they built distribution. They built a huge user base. People could join Facebook, YouTube for free. You can join, you will join Thwglobal for what? For free. Then we're going to watch content. We're already watching content at YouTube. They just don't pay us. We're already seeing ads in Facebook when we go into our news feed, or we see it on the right-hand side. They're just not paying us. What Thwglobal is going to do is they're going to pay us to view content on purpose. And in viewing content on purpose, we're going to see content from advertisers. And we might buy something right away, we might not. But that advertiser gets to plant that seed. So when we want that product or that service now or in the future, we're more likely to do business with that advertiser, particularly given that that advertiser is advertising with Thwglobal, and Thwglobal is going to pay you and me. So how are they going to pay us? Give me a moment. How are they going to pay us? 3 numbers that you want to commit to memory. Very simple. $25, $5, and $1. Okay, what's the $25? All right, so when we go live, right now we're in beta. Yesterday was the first day of beta. Yesterday, in the first day of beta, over 2.8 million views to videos, and nobody's getting paid yet. That was all what we call IVs, international viewers, simply going in out of excitement, viewing content. We knew we weren't going to get paid because it's in beta. They are amassing demographic information. They are seeing just how many of us are really interested in viewing this content so that they can go and present offers to advertisers that will then pay for us to view the content. So here's the deal. You'll earn up to $25 an hour for a maximum of 10 hours per week for viewing content on the Thwglobal site. It could be a video about sports. It could be a video about politics. It could be a video about animals. I love my videos about animals. I see that a whole bunch of animal videos, like cats and dogs, have been watched. I like the one that talked about the 3 edible insects. Queen, I love that one. I learned a lot, Queen. If I'm ever out somewhere and I get hungry, I can eat an ant or a beetle, and that packs it up with protein. Shouldn't have said that. Some of you might be eating. I'm sorry. Up to $25 an hour. Now, what does the up to $25 an hour mean? Okay, here's the deal. It's pure economics. In the U.S., the average disposable income after tax disposable income is $2,800 in US dollar terms. In the Philippines, the average after-tax income in US dollar terms per person is $300 and some change. So obviously an advertiser advertising to a Filipino audience is likely going to spend less in advertising than an advertiser advertising to a US-based audience. That's what the up to 25. So depending on what part or what region of the world is going to determine what that figure is going to be. And that's going to be fluid. All right. So that's why we say up to $25 an hour. So that's the first number I want you to keep in mind. So you can view up to 10 hours a week once we go live, up to $25 an hour. Let's call it $250 a week. It could be less, obviously, with that disclaimer we've given you. Let's call it just over $1,000 a month because you'll have some weeks, some months that you have 5 weeks. Now, I want you to get this. That's for every person in your household who's 18 years or above. So if you are married, then it should be you and your spouse registered. If you've got a significant other, you and the significant other that's registered. If you have children, like in my family, it's my wife, yours truly, 2 of my sons. And guess what we were doing today? We had our family meeting. All right, guys. All right, Guyette, my wife. All right, Snook, the love of my life. All right, we're in beta. We're not getting paid to view just yet, but we're going to do our part so that the company knows that there's some folks that want to view. And so guess what we were all doing today in different parts of our day? My wife's on her phone. My sons are on their phone. I'm on my computer, and we are viewing. That could mean up to $4,000 a month of income for our families in time just from our viewing. No marketing there, no recruiting there, no sponsoring there, no selling there, just for viewing. If you say, well, where's that money coming from? I just showed you 2 dudes. I just showed you 2 dudes. I just showed you 2 dudes worth almost $80 billion because they're keeping all the money. Thwglobal is saying, hey, we'll pay you to view this content on purpose. What's the $5? What's the $5? Well, for every person that you personally enroll, when they view, they can earn up to $25. You can earn up to $5. And of course, that'll be prorated. If they earn $15 because of the part of the world they live in, then you'll earn whatever that fraction happens to be. Let's assume they earn $25. They view an hour's worth of content. You just made $5. Let that sink in. See, they can view 10 hours of content a week. If they view 10 hours of content, they make, let's say, $250. You just made $50 because you referred someone to a free system. It didn't cost them anything to join. And now they're just viewing. And they may want to build the business part, or they just may want to view. Doesn't matter. You would make that money. And if they do that 4 weeks out of the month, they made their $1,000 or so, and you just made $200. So every person you personally enroll could be worth up to $200 a month for you. Why wouldn't you want to refer others? You mean, maybe you haven't been good at it at this point. That's what we're here for. That's why we've got systems that we'll talk more about on this coming Thursday to help you do all of the hard lifting so that it does all the work. It does all the presenting. And, somebody with half a brain comes through your system. They're going to want to join you. Okay. All right. Now, let me give you an example. One of our Club 100 members. Club 100 is where someone has said, hey, I want to build my personal sponsorship to at least 100 or more. Okay. One of our Club 100 members sent this to me. So they have personally enrolled 231 that's on their first level. All right. So now let's do the math here. All right. 231. So here's the potential. There's 231 referrals they've enrolled. They could make up to $5 an hour for everyone that just views 1 hour. So if everyone in a perfect world viewed 1 hour for that day, they would make $1,155 for the fact that everybody viewed just 1 hour. All right. It's $1,155 an hour. Okay. Try that one on your job. All right. Now, the fact is that those 231 referrals could actually view 10 hours a week. So in a perfect world of 231 referrals, view 10 hours a week, and you made the $5 per, that's $11,550 for the week. Now, we know that that's a perfect world scenario, and we don't live in a perfect world. We're not in utopia. We're not in paradise. We get that. And what I have found is that typically, you probably have seen this too, is that, 80% of what gets done normally gets done by like 20% of the folks. And 20% of folks are normally responsible for 80% of whatever gets done. So if you just took 20% of that, let's say 20% of that happened. Somebody viewed 10 hours, somebody viewed none. Somebody viewed 8 hours, somebody viewed 2. If 20% of that happened, ladies and gentlemen, just as it stands right now, and this person is continually growing their referral network, because they've built a referral network, that could be a couple $1,000s a week if just 20% of what could happen happens. That's why you want to build a referral network. Even if you haven't done it before, follow what we're teaching, follow our systems. There's no reason why in time you shouldn't be Club 100 also. So we've got the 25, we've got the 5. What about 1? Little itty bitty measly $1. Who cares about a buck? Well, in our system, you're going to care a lot about a buck. And the reason being is because in the compensation, there are 10 levels. Now, what does this mean? You're the green dude or green dudette. Anyone that you refer is on your first level. Anyone that they refer is on your second. Anyone that they refer is on your third and your fourth and your fifth and your sixth, all the way down to 10 levels. Now, excluding that first level, anybody from levels 2 through 10, when they view, that could be $1. For every hour they view, that could be $1 for you. Oh, did you hear that? Susan, did you hear the hip hopness there? For every hour they view, that could be $1 for you. Oh my gosh, that boy is talented. Hey, Queen, you liked it, didn't you? You liked it. Give me a beat, Queen. Come on, give me a beat. Come on, Queen. Oh, okay. All right. Anyway. I'm having fun. We're starting to view in beta. I'm having some fun. All right. So you can have in time hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands. We already have folks in Thwglobal that have over 6 figures, over 100,000 in their 10-level organization. All right. So here's the example here. All right. Club 100 member. They've personally enrolled 231, and from that, 1750 is on the second level, and from that, 3359 is on the third level, and this is growing, and this is growing. And so they've got 16,000 folks in their 10-level organization. All right, now I'm going to subtract out the 231 because we already know what can happen there if they view. So from levels 2 through 10, you've got people, they're viewing content. And what happens is the more people that view, then the more advertisers Thwglobal can attract. And the more advertisers Thwglobal attracts, the more money is paid to Thwglobal, the more money is paid to the field, the more money is paid to the field, the more excitement there is in the field, the more people get registered so they can view, which attracts more advertising money, and it just becomes a cycling effect. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the potential here. I'm going to subtract out the 231 that were personally enrolled. That leaves 15,922 folks in levels 2 through 10. And this is an ever-growing number. All right, that screenshot is a few days old from what they sent me. 15,922. If everybody just viewed an hour, that's $15,922 for the day if it was an hour a day. If everybody viewed 10 hours a week, times the buck. I can't even show the numbers. The FTC would frown on me, so you do the numbers there. Now, we know it's not a perfect world. What if we just get 20% of this imperfect world? And even that number's too big for me to show. You do the numbers. Now, back in 2005, if YouTube had said, that gentleman's name is Jawed that did that video. If he had said, hey, we got this new video platform and we're going to pay people to view content. And then if people saw that 18-second video, I guarantee you folks would have said, that's a scam. It ain't going to work. No, you ain't never going to amount to anything. And then 18 months later, Google buys them out for $1.6 billion. And a few years later, now they're worth $100 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the compensation. 25, 5, and 1. Now, let me finish with this. How do we scale this to a 6 or 7 figure business? Okay. You're not going to scale it to a 6 or 7 figure business by accident. It's going to happen fully by design, fully on purpose. And so we have something that we call the 10-hour pledge. It's designed to get you to the Club 100. Club 100 is where you have 100 people that have joined with you that are committing to the 10-hour pledge. Now, that means that you're going to have to ultimately go outside your circle of friends and family, because your friends and family circle, at some point, you're going to run out of that. And so then you're going to have to learn how you build a real business online, how you build a real business with mobile marketing. So here's what we're going to do. For those of you that want to build to a 6 to 7 figure business, if that's not you, if you just want a few $100 and $1,000, maybe it's 2 or 3 of you in your household that can view. So maybe you can, generate maybe a couple, $3,000 a month. If that's all you want, that's fine. That's fine. You'll get back with the person who invited you and you'll go in and join with them. But if you want to scale to a 6 or 7 figure business, if you understand that Thwglobal, to hit its goal of being 1% of the global advertising pie, which would be $6.5 billion a year in revenue, because the global advertising pie is a $650 billion industry, that in order for Thwglobal to get there, we've got to have tens of millions of users. They're going to be tens of millions of users anyway. They're going to be in somebody's 10-level organization. Tyron, they might as well be in yours. Shelly Lynn, they might as well be in yours. Rory Kirby, might as well be in yours, my friend. All right, here we go. Only 2 tenets. Very simple. It says this. When we're viewing for real and we're making money for real, when we go live, and it looks like we're about 30 days from the soft launch ending, and hopefully that's when we'll see the first country or first countries coming aboard. I want you to covenant to maximizing your viewing income. Now, when we come out of the gate, will everybody be able to view 10 hours out of the gate? I don't know. I don't know that there'll be enough advertisers, there'll be enough content, so maybe it's 7 hours initially, and then it scales up to 10. I don't know. Whatever that number is, whatever that maximum number is out of the gate, and going forward for all of your THW business, commit to viewing the maximum amount. Let's say it's 10 hours. Commit to viewing 10 hours a week. So I already have my family getting used to viewing their 10 hours. No need to come and ask daddy for anything, sons, because you can view yourself and generate some revenue. All right. So I want you viewing right now. I want to see you viewing right now. Okay. And then from that, number 2, we're going to covenant to take 50 to 100% of the viewing income, and we're going to recap it, recapitalize it, reinvest it back into our business in the form of having the proper tools and resources, as well as paid traffic, having a monthly advertising budget. So if you're part of the NFL club, no friends or family left, if when you log on Facebook, all your Facebook friends log off because they see you coming, nobody wants to hear you talk about any type of business, then that's okay. We've got your back, because ultimately, you're going to be driving paid traffic to your system. We'll talk more about the system that we're launching for our audience, the first system that we're launching for our audience on this coming Thursday. So you want to make sure you're on our Thursday webinar where we talk about our mobile marketing system. That system is going to do all the work for you. Well, I should say 95% of the work for you. Okay, it's going to do 95% of the work for you. It's going to do the presenting and the training and all that stuff. All you got to do is drive people to the system. And we're even going to share with you our favorite ways of driving traffic. Some of them are just automated. You just go and say, hey, I made some money from viewing. I'm taking a percentage of that money and I'm going to buy some traffic. And here's the traffic source I'm going to drive traffic to my system. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. And let our systems do the work from there. You view, you recap. You view, you recap. You view, you recap. And then when you do that, you're going to have people joining you. And some of those are going to do more than just view. They're going to recap. They view, they recap. They view, they recap. And it starts to build out your 10-level organization. And then we'll share with you how to take a percentage of that income from your overrides and reinvest that back into your business. Not all of it. Not all of it. You're going to keep most of it. But you're going to take a percentage of it, reinvest back into your business, scale up your business. This is how we're going to get you to 6 or 7 figures, even if you have struggled up to this point in your business. Queen, are you proud of me? I said we would be 30, 35 minutes, and then we'd be finished, and we would start the transition. I'm almost there. Okay. I'm almost there. Almost. All right. Here's what I need to do real quickly. I need to walk you through how to register and how to take a survey so that you can start viewing, and then how to get your referral links. I'm going to do this very quickly. Give me just a moment. Let me pause my screen. All right. So what's going to happen is your referrer is going to send you their link. Give me a moment. And their link is going to be something like ABC representing their username .thwglobal.com. Okay? And that's going to take you to their referral link. You should see at the top right their name. I'm not going to put my information up there because I don't want anyone mistakenly registering at the wrong spot. Okay? So you're going to register. It's real simple. You're going to put your name, your email address, your password, your country. It doesn't ask you for anything that is that's not asking for a credit card because you're not paying for anything. You're not asking for anything that's too private, okay? And then that's going to register you, and then you're going to be able to log in, all right? So now you're going to log in with the same username and the same password. And let me do that. Give me just a moment. Again, I don't want to show that on screen because I don't want someone getting the username and going to the wrong site when you should be going to the site of the person that referred you. Give me a moment. Okay, so then you're going to log in. Now, you might be at the video sharing site, all right? And over in the left-hand corner, there's going to be a drop-down menu, and when you click that, it's going to say sign in as an IV, and then you use your username and your password. When you do that, the first thing I want you to do when you come inside is I want you to go to your survey center, click on demographic survey, and you'll have a survey that will pop up. You want to fill out that survey, okay? Fill out that survey. It's going to ask you the things that interests you, but I want you not just to think about you. I want you to think about everybody in your family and even loved ones that may not even live with you, all right? So maybe you're not interested in camping, but your brother is interested in camping. Well, click that. All right, because there might be content that you see, and maybe when it's his birthday or gift giving season or what have you, maybe there's an advertisement that you see where you might get him something dealing with camping because he loves camping. All right, so fill out that survey. I want you to be as liberal in the filling out of that survey, the things that would interest you as possible. Don't be too restrictive there, okay? All right, so you're going to fill out that demographic survey, and then you're going to be able to start viewing content. All right, right now we're in soft launch. We're not getting paid for viewing content, but I want you to commit to viewing content daily anyway. Get used to it, and that provides needed data for THW Global. All right, then the last thing you're going to do here is you're going to go up here to where it says Message Center. Now, you won't have a lot of messages like I have right now just yet. Ultimately, you will once you start building the referral network. But you're going to be looking for a message that says, welcome to THW. Welcome to THW. If you click where it says read, that's going to be a welcome message. You're not going to get an email from THW Global. You're going to get a welcome message that's going to be here under the Message Center. And that's going to give you your referral links. They're going to give you 3 referral links. They all do the same thing. All right. So whether some people just like one over the other, doesn't matter. They all do the same thing. Help you get people registered in the system. Okay. All right. So now I'm finished that. We're going to take a minute to kind of refresh, get a little water, and then we're going to go into some training. Queen, I'm proud of myself. I did it. Give me just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into some training here. And if you are a guest, if you're just joining, you are more than welcome to stick around. What we will do on our Tuesday evenings is we'll have a combo. We'll do basically what I just did. Now, actually, I hadn't put together any PowerPoint slides just yet. I just went to the website. So we'll get this streamlined over the next couple of weeks. But then we'll spend some time doing some training to help you build your network. And the things that we're going to talk about in these trainings aren't just going to help you build THW Global. We did a poll not long ago, and 75% of the folks that responded on the poll said that they were promoting other business interests as well. And we want you to ultimately have multiple streams of income across multiple niches. Our objective for all of our following is to help you to build a long-term sustainable business with multiple streams of income across multiple niches so that you have the financial and the time freedom to hotly pursue the passions of your heart. Okay. So with that being said, let's go to work. I want to make this as interactive as I possibly can. So I'm going to ask some questions, and I want you to, put some things in your questions box. I refer to this series of training as finger paint training. And the reason I do that is because when did we finger paint? Preschool, maybe kindergarten, maybe first grade, very, very early on when we were learning the basics. And what I have found in doing tons of webinars and polling thousands upon thousands of folks is most people really don't understand the basics of marketing. If you've bought or invested in marketing material out in the marketplace, a lot of it doesn't deal with the basics. Because it's harder for them to sell you on a $497 package, or $997 if you act today, $1997, that kind of stuff, if they're dealing with the basics. So a lot of times you can easily find the mastermind type content if you're willing to pay the price for it. But a lot of the just basic stuff, the blocking and the tackling from a U.S. football analogy, you don't have a lot of people really go into it, but that's what a lot of people need. And so this is what I'm calling this finger paint training, basic training. Now, most of you, this is going to be right in line with what you need. Some of you, you've already graduated. But listen, I want you to still stay tuned, because even though you may have graduated from this type of training, most of your following hasn't. So if you could pick up some nuggets and then regurgitate that in your own way to your audience, to your email list, to your Facebook following, so on and so forth, and to bring more value to your audience. Okay. All right. So I need your help here, because I'm going to be asking some questions. Here's the question I want you to answer for me. What is your most important asset in terms of your business, in terms of you building your business? What is your most important asset? What's your most important asset? You tell me. Put it in your questions box. I've got, someone says me, someone says time, someone says yourself, someone says my list. I've got time. I've got an autoresponder. Someone says money. Someone says electronic device. Someone says my customers. Someone says patience. Wow, that's a good one. Health. People. My list. Staying motivated. Family. Knowledge. Positive attitude. Time. My brain. Family. Thank you so much. Health. Family. Time. Okay? Now, let me tell you what I believe your most important asset, I'm going to say assets, are. Okay. And I'm glad to see, I don't see anybody saying any particular offer. So nobody said my most important asset is Thwglobal. My most important asset is the weight loss company I'm promoting. My most important asset is the travel company I'm promoting. I'm using that as examples. Okay. So I'm glad. But here's the challenge, is that most people are not putting their time or their resources where they say the most important asset or assets are. I believe your most important asset, and some of you said this, is you. You can say family, but if you are not in the equation, then you're not there to provide. You're not there to build this asset to help impact your family. You can say your customers, but if you are not in place, then you're not going to have any customers. You can say money, but you can always make more money. Obviously, you can say time. And so part of you is time. And so one of the reasons I'm so big as it relates to traffic generation on paid traffic versus so-called free traffic, and there is no so-called free traffic. It may not cost you money, but it's going to cost you time. I've got over 40 YouTube videos talking about Thwglobal. Didn't cost me money to put the YouTube videos up. And yes, I've gotten a lot of traction from it. I've had people join me as a result of it. I've had people join my list as a result of it. But it wasn't free. It took me time to figure out, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? Create the content, cut the content, render the content. Last night, we had an awesome webinar last night. I had people in the questions box saying, hey, can you get this out to us ASAP, ASAP, ASAP? You want to know what time I turned off the computer last night? 3 a.m. So that I could get that out at 8 in the morning. I programmed my email system. I programmed my, what do we call that? My push notification system to send it out at 8 in the morning. But I was working on that to 3 in the morning. The most important asset is you. And it is by far the most neglected component of most people's business. I think the second biggest asset is your following. Yes, that means your list. But what you ultimately want to have are people that will follow you. You join ABC today because you said it, because you sent it to your list, and because they now value your recommendations, they join you. You say, hey, here's a product or service that could benefit you, and they don't even have to go through a presentation. They don't have to go to a webinar because you said it. They joined you. So, buddy of mine, Tyron, he joined Thwglobal with me. All right? And through my referral. 24 hours later, dude's got 192 personally enrolled. I hit him. I said, dude, what the heck are you doing? He said, oh, I haven't even looked. I just sent out a couple of emails to my list. He's got a following. He's got a responsive following. So these are the two most important elements in my belief of you building your business, you and your following. So let's talk a little about you tonight. One of my mentors, multimillionaire mentor, he was making about $36 million a year. 36 million. This is way back when I first got in the industry in the mid 90s. Okay. 36 million a year. Zeke and Jerry, I'm talking about Hubert Humphrey. Okay. Hubert used to always say, work on your business, not just in your business. Work on your business, not just in your business. Now, I've got to be honest with you. When I first got into the industry, I was young. I didn't understand what this meant. It was about 5 years before the light bulb went off. And what Hubert was saying is, you're working in your business. Me being up to 3 o'clock in the morning, not just rendering the video from last night, making sure that was up and running, but fashioning the correspondence, changing our webinar page, which was saying, is it crap or is it gold, to saying, hey, I think we've moved beyond the crap stage. I think we're preparing for gold. Doing all that stuff. That was me working in my business. And that's very important. It's important, Susan, that you're working in your business. Tammy, you're working in your business. Thomas, you're working in your business. It's very important, Val, that you're working in your business. But what most people do is they neglect to work on their business themselves. So let me share with you why this is so important. Okay. This is something that my dear buddy, I'll even say mentor, Cal Newton down in Texas taught me years ago. Some of you that have been with us since we came online in 2008, 2009, you might remember when we would have Kyle coming on doing personal development training. He did that for several months. All right. So here's what Kyle taught me. He says, when you take a look at this object, all right, is it clear what this is? Put it in your questions box. I want to make sure this is clear that everybody knows what they're looking at. What are we looking at right here? What are we looking at? Put it in your questions box. There you go. Iceberg. Okay. Some people call it a glacier iceberg. Okay. Now, this is what Kyle taught me. He said, what you see, the top of the iceberg, because if we were on a cruise right now, we wouldn't see all this girth. All we would see is the top of the iceberg. He says the top of the iceberg represents your conscious thoughts. The top of the iceberg represents your conscious thoughts. However, the girth, which represents so much more of yourself, so much more of the iceberg is beneath the surface. So when we get away from the surface stuff, who's the real person? What are our real thoughts? This represents, all this girth here represents your subconscious thoughts. And so Kyle said, the decisions that you make, good or bad, the decisions that you make that impact your relationships, the decisions that you make that impact your finances, the decisions that you make that impact your business, good or bad, are not made consciously. They're made from the subconscious. I thought, man, wow. And so Kyle went on to share how when he was growing up in Kentucky, his dad was the manager, if you will, over a golf course, the grounds of the golf course. And it was a lot of hard work to keep the grounds nice and manicured and what have you. And so Kyle, like every son, wants the attaboy, wants the good graces of his dad, wants dad to be proud of him. So Kyle was out working for dad all day. And Kyle was dirty. And Kyle sees dad, and dad scolds him for not working hard enough. And Kyle's saying, but dad, I did what you told me to do. I worked hard. And his dad said, you're not dirty enough, Kyle. You're not dirty enough. You haven't worked hard enough. And now that wasn't just a one-time event, but that helped to shape Kyle's subconscious programming. So Kyle ultimately became very successful in his business. He would produce and develop systems for network marketing companies and network marketing leaders. And as a matter of fact, I was a part owner of a network marketing company. Kyle and his team, they were the programmers for our network marketing company. So Kyle and I became very, very close. Kyle's a great guy, and that network marketing company, didn't quite make it, but it wasn't Kyle's fault, that's for sure. All right, great guy, fantastic guy. Well, when I meet Kyle, Kyle's already immensely successful. Big house, beautiful family, beautiful wife, children, so on and so forth. I had no idea that he was having internal struggles because of subconscious programming. His internal struggles were, even though he was on the outside successful financially, over $1 million a year in his business, the subconscious programming said the way that he made money did not get the respect of his dad because Kyle never had to get dirty. He's a computer systems guy. He wasn't out there in the field. He wasn't out there in the sun. And so he didn't know this until he started getting some coaching, some personal development coaching. So what happened with Kyle, he's successful, but it's not enough. It's not enough. So he's burning it at both ends. He's never taking time out. His wife, as beautiful, as loving as she is, he's not spending much time with his wife because he wants the acceptance of his father because of the subconscious programming that he had. Even though he was successful, consciously he's successful. Subconsciously he ain't. And had he not started some deprogramming and reprogramming of his subconscious, he tells me, his lovely wife, it appears they have a storybook marriage. He's telling me they may not have had a storybook marriage, that they may have divorced, that they were very close to divorce because of that subconscious programming. Now, I'm a big sports fan. And I remember back in the 80s, there was this tandem played for the New York Mets. And I wasn't a Mets fan, but I was a fan of these two individuals. And I'm going to say their names. If you guys remember this, if some of you remember this, just put a Y in the questions box. How many of you remember Darryl Strawberry or Dwight Gooden? Darryl Strawberry or Dwight Gooden. Okay. All right. Okay. So Darryl Strawberry, if he was playing in today's major leagues, would be making $20+ million a year easily. Dwight Gooden, if he was playing in today's major leagues, would probably be making 20, 25 million a year. All right. So back in the 80s, obviously that the salaries weren't that big. So Darryl Strawberry comes on the scene. I think he wins the Rookie of the Year. This is the pre-steroid era in baseball. And I mean, he just looks like he is surefire going to be going to the Hall of Fame. But doggone it, this dude just couldn't get his act together. It would be a DUI one day. It would be domestic violence another. It would be drugs and rehab another. And then he would go through rehab. He's clean. And then he would mess up all over again. And for a dude, yours truly, who has no athletic ability, when they were passing that one out, I sure didn't get it. Queen, I defy the stereotype. You know the stereotype. The stereotype is all bald head dudes are athletic. I got you. You thought I was going there. I'm not getting political like that. Got you. So the stereotype is all bald head dudes are extremely athletic. Well, I defy that one because I'm not. So I'm 5'7", I'm 195, I'm stubby for my height, and I've never been athletic. And so when I look at Darryl Strawberry, I have an envy, not bad jealousy, but man, this dude has all this God-given talent, and he just keeps messing it up. Same thing with Dwight Gooden. All this God-given talent, and he just keeps messing it up. Can't stay on the straight and narrow. Can't stay clean. What's wrong with this dude? What's wrong with this dude? Get it right, man. You got the talent, man. Why are you wasting the talent? And then I watch an expose on those two dudes. And Darryl Strawberry has got all this great talent, but his dad was an alcoholic. And when his dad got juiced up, Dad would beat on Mom. Dad would beat on Darryl. And Dad would say, Darryl, you ain't never going to be jack. You ain't never going to amount to nothing. And so even though the world saw talent galore, this is what we saw. What we didn't see was that subconscious programming. This is why you can have an opportunity. And you can have John, I'm just throwing out a name, so I'm not referencing anybody on the webinar. You can have John, who has bad subconscious programming. Not his fault, by the way. That wasn't Darryl's fault that his dad got juiced. It wasn't Darryl's fault that his dad had his own issues. Who knows what his dad dealt with that led him to all of that? Wasn't Darryl's fault, but it was subconscious programming nonetheless. We've got to work on ourselves. We've got to work on ourselves. Now, I'm glad to say I saw an expose not long ago, and it looks like he's been working on this subconscious programming, and it looks like he's been on the straight and narrow for a while, and he's getting his act together. Now he's sharing his message with others. So here's one of the challenges we have in our industry. We've got low barriers to entry, and with Thwglobal, the barriers are even lower because it's free. So you've got low barriers to entry, okay? You've got a phenomenal compensation system with Thwglobal. Let's assume she's gold, all right? So we're preparing for the gold. And you're going to have somebody that is going to take this and run with it. They're going to hear about the 10-hour pledge and say, shoot, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. And they're going to view, and they're going to take a portion of their revenue, and they're going to invest it in the tools and resources and the traffic, and they're going to build a monstrous organization. And they're going to make a lot of money, and prayerfully they're going to do some really good things with that money. And then you're going to have somebody else in the same business, hearing the same message, access to the same tools, resources, and traffic, but they've not worked on themselves. And all of that gunk from growing up, all of that gunk from the media. Okay, let me tell you some of the gunk I went through. I've got two awesome, loving parents. Thank goodness they're still on this side with me. Love my parents immensely. I am a mama and a papa's boy. Okay, my mama calls me, I'm 45 years young, about to be 46 soon. My mama calls me baby boy, and I love it. Yes, Yes, I'm her baby boy. When I email my mom, when we talk on Facebook, I end it with baby boy. Now, growing up, a part of my growing up in my worship experience, and I'm not here to, tout any type of faith or religion or what have you, but it's a part of my worship experience. What I basically heard was rich people don't go to heaven. So that means that the only people that get the graces of the Creator are the poor people. So you really want to be poor. You don't want to be rich, because rich people don't go to heaven. And then I would watch TV and I would see rich people on TV like Dallas. I grew up in the 80s, and Dynasty, where you had rich people, right? You had wealthy people. J.R. Ewing, wealthy, but he was a scoundrel. That dude couldn't be faithful if his life depended on it. So rich people are not faithful. And then we would hear sayings like filthy rich. He's filthy rich. She's filthy rich. That's why I keep saying, when I talk about these dudes and dudettes that are worth $38 billion, hey, I'm not foo-fooing on that, because I got to remind myself, because I had to do some subconscious reprogramming. So I had an issue, didn't know it. I had an issue with rich folk, because my subconscious programming said, filthy rich. He got it with ill-gotten gains. He walked over people. He backstabbed people. And if you're rich, then you're not going to treat your wife right, and you're not going to be faithful to your wife, and what have you. Those were the images I saw in media. Those were the images that I heard when I went to my place of worship. And I'm not fooling on those. Some great people. Those were some loving people. I love them dearly. But that all went to my subconscious programming. So now, when I first get into this industry, I don't know all of that stuff. I don't know that I got a problem with getting rich. So when I go to the big shindig and I see people walking across the stage making $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, I wish that could be me. I hope that could be me. I want that to be me consciously. But down on the inside, my subconscious is saying, nope, because rich people are bad. Even the Creator don't let rich people in the gate. Rich people, they're not rich. They're not. Notice my words I said tonight. I said they were fabulously wealthy. $38 billion. He's fabulously wealthy, as opposed to he's filthy rich. And so what would happen is, subconsciously, I'm making decisions based on my subconscious, not my conscious thoughts. So the things that I was being taught to do so that I could build a long-term sustainable business, down here, my subconscious said, don't do it. I did it half-heartedly. I didn't do it with persistence. I didn't do it with consistency. I did it and let me see what's going to happen. And then, I think that thing wasn't going to work anyway. And I see it all the time when I go to my YouTube channels. And here, I poured out my heart. I poured out my heart on the channel, and I ain't got paid a dime. You hadn't got paid a dime. And then I'll have some folks on there foo-fooing on me. Some dude the other day said, "You a-hole, what are you doing there yelling on your YouTube video because they've launched? You ain't going to make no money." And I say, you know what? It's not his fault. His subconscious programming. The reality is he ain't going to make no money nowhere, no matter where he goes, until he starts to work on here. That's why I loved Amway. I never made it big in Amway. But you know what Amway did? It got people on the tape of the week or the tape of the month club or the book of the month club. And it got people tuning out the negatives, inputting the positives, so that they can start deprogramming from all the negative crap and start putting in positive input. I don't know one person that has ever been successful long-term in the home business industry that did not have an outright focus on getting better. Some type of personal development, spiritual growth, consistent exercise. So here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to consider doing. No, here's what I want you to do. Every day for the rest of your life, I want you to spend some time working on you. Now, go to YouTube. In time, you'll be going to Thwglobal. Go to YouTube. Put in personal development. Listen to some of the personal development folks. Find those 1 or 2 or 3 voices that really speak to you. And I'm not talking about just rah-rah stuff. I'm not just talking about, hey, just to feel good. No, I'm talking about that challenge you to be a better you. And download some of that stuff. Get it on MP3. Invest in you. Go and get some audiobooks. If you are still go and get some MP3s. If you are on a job and you have to commute and you're riding in your car, turn your automobile into, as Zig Ziglar said, into a university. Work on you. Because this business of building some type of marketing enterprise, whether it's Thwglobal or weight loss or whatever the deal happens to be, it gets hard sometimes. It gets downright difficult at times. And when you are dealing with people, you're going to deal with all sorts. And I promise you, in THW, you're going to deal with all sorts. Why? Because the barriers to entry are so low. For the life of me, I don't understand. Give me a moment. I want to show you something. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, give me one moment. Okay, all right. So here, for the life of me, I look at this 8 cat-tastics cat facts. I've already watched this. 18,000, almost 19,000 views. I click here. All right, and obviously I could watch it again. And there's 317 people that gave it a thumbs down. How do you give that a thumbs down? Well, why do you give that a thumbs down? Well, you know what? Don't get overly consumed by that. You're going to have people in your list. You're going to have people as you start building your business that they have poor subconscious programming and they're not working on themselves. And you know what you're going to have to learn to do is love them, but love them from afar. And don't even spend your time don't spend your time with people who are not on that path. Love them, but love them from afar. Love them, but love them from afar. Okay? What I want you to do, because you can't control other people, but what you can do is you can control you. I want you to start working on you. 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day. Minimum. If you're a reader, read. Get some books. Download some books. Buy some books. I'm not a reader. I'm a watcher, listener. So I'm going to watch some YouTube content, or I'm going to download some MP3s. I'm going to listen to it in my car instead of listening to music, and I love music. Instead of listening to sports radio, and I love sports radio, turn my automobile into a university because it shows up in your business. Don't just work in your business. Working in your business, vitally important, Ryan. Rosemary, vitally important. You've got to work in your business. William, you've got to work in your business. DeMar, you've got to work in your business. Happy birthday, by the way, buddy. Appreciate you being on our webinar last night on your birthday. You've got to work, Lady Di, Diane, York. You've got to work in your business, but don't neglect the most important part of your business, you. Working on you. 15, 30 minutes a day minimum. 15, 30 minutes a day. 15, 30 minutes a day working on you. You become a better you, it's going to show up in your business. Now, I know, and we'll finish here. We'll get into Queen. Let's get ready for some optional Q&A. I know you want to learn the hows of business. How do I drive traffic? How do I get traffic to convert? How do I get people to join me? How do I get people to buy from me? How do I create multiple streams of income? How do I set up a lead capture page? How do I do a YouTube video or Thwglobal video once we can load up content? How do I communicate? I know you want to know the hows, okay? And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about hows. But the whys are more important than the hows. Without the whys, you won't stick around long enough to figure out the hows. Why was I up to 3 o'clock in the morning? That wasn't a how issue. That was a why. That was a why. I have a wife that has been ailing the last 2 years. We are certainly believing for her complete restoration and healing. But my why now is so different than it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, yeah, we wanted to give a lot and we wanted to help a lot of people, but we still were focused on the big house and the big, I could care less as long as I got my wife. My why has changed. My why is what keeps me motivated to master the hows. But that comes from this right here. And you never attain, by the way. You never attain. So this is why for the rest of your life, 15 to 30 minutes working on you. Okay, if you've gotten value out of the combo webinar in your questions box, put V there for value, please. I'd like to see that you got some value. If you got value, oh, crud, I messed you up. Okay, well, let the V's go. Come on with the V's. Fantastic. We are recording this, and we got a couple of systems that we're going to be launching over the next few weeks. We're going to be launching our mobile marketing system that is centered around Thwglobal. Not long after that, we'll be launching our funnel blueprint system. The funnel blueprint is going to house all of our recorded videos so that you'll have access to those in one library, what we call our webinar vault. So pay attention to that. Keep following us, and you'll find out more about that. I just messed Queen up because you were putting some questions in, and I just told you to put in V for value. So everybody who typed in the question, do it again. I'm sorry. My fault. Thank you, Lady Di. Thanks, Fred. Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, Linda, Roy, Rebecca, Salita. Hey, Salita. Salita, when did you get to Miami? I thought you were in Alabama somewhere. Am I thinking of somebody else? I thought you were in Alabama or Arkansas. Okay, Queen, I see. Okay. Oh, my gosh. Colleen, what did you do to me, Colleen? You go find that one, and let me see if I can decipher what Colleen is asking. No, I am not an owner. Someone on YouTube said I was an insider. I'm not an insider. I don't know any more than any of you. I just have a different perspective because I've been in the industry 20 plus years. We have developed 5-7-figure businesses, and I was a part owner of a unfortunately defunct network marketing company. So that gives me a slightly different perspective than most. No better than anybody. It just gives me a different perspective. But no, I'm not an owner.